Well, hello again. February is now just about to draw to a close, and we're going to be coming into March in the next day or so. Today I'm going to do a little bit more work in the utility garden, and I've got an old chest of drawers which I'm going to be converting into a planter to give a little bit of colour during the summer months. I've got some more seeds and bulbs to plant in, and I'm going to be planting out things like the rhubarb, the Hellebore seedlings that we looked at last time, and a couple of other bits into the garden, because we're now getting to the time where, although we're not past the last frost by a long way, these plants are going to be strong enough to go outside. So I'm going to start by looking at this chest of drawers, which I'm going to convert into a planter. Well, this is the old cupboard that I've had in my shed. I'm now going to set about turning this into a planter. I'm going to have to do a bit of tidying up to it, but let's crack on with the work. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take each drawer and I'm going to turn each one into a separate planter. Now, very, very fortunately, one of these seed trays fits perfectly inside the drawer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invert it inside, grab a pencil, mark off the depth it comes to at the back, so I know the back line of it. I'm then going to cut down some old timber, measure that, mark that, put it inside, make a false back, then going to line it with black plastic, pop the seed tray inside, and we should have a nice waterproof planter. So the first thing I've got to do then is I've got to measure and cut the wood before I fit that. So here's the first drawer completed. Tray inside, lined, and a little bit of waterproof tape along the front edge just to give it a nice little seal, bit more protection. I'm going to be fixing these into position in the cabinet, just so there's a small opening, and then the one below will have a slightly larger opening, then a closed drawer, and then the others open, and we'll have our plants trailing over the front. I think it'll look really nice once I've actually got a little bit of paint over the front on that. So it's time for me to do 3 more drawers now and see what it looks like when it's finished. Well, there we go, the planter is made. I've just got to give it a nice coat of paint, get some mixed flowers, maybe some strawberries in there, and I think that'll be a lovely little addition to this part of the garden. Right, on with the next job. I think we need to go and plant some more seeds. Another little job that I've got for today, I'm just going to sow out some cabbage seeds. What I do is I get my tray and make a couple of small drills along the tray in which to plant the seeds. And we're just going to pop a few of those out today, get a nice thin distribution of the cabbage seeds along the little drills that I've already put into the compost here. Try and spread them out just a little bit, but I will obviously be thinning these out before I plant them into the garden. So a few more seeds than I expected here. So I'm going to put just a third little run down the middle. Just do it with a marker and then just pop a few cabbage seeds down into there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cover that up. So there are the the cabbage seeds in their little rows, and all I do is I just take this little marker and just cover those rows up just very, very lightly. Now the compost in here had already been pre-watered, so it's nice and damp. So we're just going to hold those in place very, very lightly there. Happy days. And we'll take some water and we'll just give it a fine misting over the top there. And then of course we do have to make sure that we mark up the cabbage. Well, that's all marked up on there, and that's all ready now to go onto the racking. In the fruit garden where I've got my peach trees and my raspberries and my red currants, and I'm now going to put some of the rhubarb plants that we've been growing into the ground here. I've already prepared a small trench and I'm just going to pop these nicely into the ground, and hopefully we will be growing some nice rhubarb. I must say the roots on here are now absolutely massive. We've got a really lovely root system and I'm really hoping to get some nice rhubarb off of these next year. You won't be eating it this year, but I'm sure as this goes through here we will grow some beautiful, beautiful rhubarb. There's just nothing better than eating things that you've grown in your own garden. It's just wonderful. Now, I already prepared this ground and it is beautiful soil here. It might be a little bit heavy at the moment, but these plants are all growing in a good compost mix, and we'll get that in here. Oh yes, this will be lovely. I'm sure they're going to thrive out here. Just generally going to put these in partially, and then I'll complete the infill with the spade. Oh, solid root system on here. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely beautiful. And I know that I'm going to really love eating this rhubarb when it's ready. One there, and then one more just on the end here. Get that nicely in the ground there. Let's get some soil just to fill in around here. And I'll press this down a little bit firmer in a moment. We will also be planting out some strawberries around here as well later in the year. So let's get this nicely firmed down. And then bring some of this mulch that we have on the ground back over and around them, give them a little bit more protection. Lovely bark mulch on here. Now it's a little bit more over this side. Oop. There. And they will really be growing lovely, I'm sure. Looking forward to that. And there we go, a nice big clump of rhubarb, and that'll be growing on throughout this year, and we'll revisit it just to see how it looks later on. One more little job that I'm going to do today is I'm going to plant out these Hellebore seedlings from last year into the Hellebore border. I've got a lovely display here, but it doesn't go along to the fence, so I want to build that a little bit further along so it just spreads out for next year. And I'm just going to pop these in here. Again, I've already prepared the ground. These have got really, really, really lovely root systems on them, and Hellebores are so easy to grow, and they're such a beautiful plant, and I don't see enough of them in people's gardens. So we're just going to pop that one in next to there. These will really fill out for next year. Hellebores are really, really easy to grow, and they will give me a lot more early spring colour, vibrancy and interest in the garden. And these little babies here will come on and join in with these beauties for next year. Well, I thought we'd take a quick trip into the vegetable garden, and if I just come round here, this is a bed that I started last year. It's going to be sort of lasagna based. We've got the cardboard on there at the moment, and then I'm going to be putting grass clippings over the top of that when I do the first cut of the grass. And I'm not going to be wasting the bed this year though. I'm going to be using some pots and some loose plants just to make use of the space. Probably put some strawberries into some planters and things there. But the first thing I'm going to show you today is how I'm going to add some nutrients to my no-dig area of the garden, which is looking quite good. Well, I have some fish blood and bone which I'm going to cast over the surface of the garden, but it's very, very important when it's a little bit of a windy day that you don't breathe in the particles. So I'm just going to cover my face to stop me breathing in anything and making myself a bit poorly. So bear with me on this one. Well, hopefully you can still hear me, but so all I do is I just cast this gently over the ground. And all we're doing is we're adding some nutrients. This is just a general purpose fertiliser. And do remember, if you've got pets, just keep them away until you've got this well down into the ground. Now, all I'm going to do now, we've got a reasonable amount on here. I'm now going to get my rake, put it down into the soil, and then we'll let the rain do its job to wash it down into the ground. And I can see it's going to rain very, very short. Well, it's been quite a busy week. We have made a new planter out of an old chest of drawers, planted some seeds, put the rhubarb out, put the hellebores into the hellebore bed, and I know that's going to look really brilliant next year. The only problem I've got now is waiting for the soil to dry out a little bit because of all of the rain. But we have done some soil conditioning in the vegetable garden, and when I get the chance, I'll show you some more of the vegetable garden. I've got three raised beds and 2 beds on the ground, and hopefully we'll be able to spend some more time down there as the plants grow and we can get out there. I'm hoping to be able to put some strawberries and some maybe nasturtiums, lobelia and various bits into the chest of drawer planter, and I'm sure that is going to look absolutely superb. And I've got a few more ideas for the utility garden to brighten it up over the next month or so. However, that's it. We're going to pop into March tomorrow, because today is leap year, February the 29th. And I'm so looking forward now to the warmer days coming. But they're not here yet. We're still going to get some frosts, we're likely to get some snow, and we've got to be very, very careful about what we're planting because we cannot damage the plants. We've got to make sure everything's all right. But that's it. That's the end of episode 7, and once again, thank you very, very much for your company. The only thing I have to do now is to leave you with my traditional glass of wine. I've got a rather lovely Cabernet Sauvignon, and I wish you all the best. Cheers to you all.